Hi guys, it's Paul Blaine from Affinity Training, e-learning for you. We are doing a Friday Facebook Live that is supposed to be 4:30 start, but you'll note that it's actually approaching 4:45. Apologies about that. We have been having some technical difficulties with the Facebook Live page. Not sure it's our end, not sure it's Facebook, but we're here anyway and we'll crack on. If I can just get a nod from Becky, who's holding the camera, to tell me that we are live this time and it is working. Becky's one of our relationship managers and it's her task to hold the iPad to me today to actually...
No, it's interrupted it.
It's interrupted it. Oh, this is gone. Is it... Is it stopped?
Go on.
Okay, we really are having some technical problems, so we're trying to work out what's going on. But I'm going to motor ahead anyway, and we're going to try and ensure that we get a steady stream going forward so that we can enjoy this live interactive session if we can. So, as I said, my name's Paul Blaine. We do these every week. I am the Director of Training Services at Affinity Training and e-learning for you. We did this last week when we looked very much at achieving goals or setting goals and making plans. And it's our ambition to bring these to you every week, to bring topics that will allow you to go into the weekend after, I'm sure, a hard, busy week at work, looking at thought-provoking moments to make you go back to work on a Monday afternoon full of vigour and, or a Monday morning even I should say, full of vigour and with a plan in mind of what it is that you're going to do. So over the coming weeks we're going to be looking at several sessions. So today, as we said, we're looking at recruitment and retention. That's a big thing to me and a big asset to any organisation and business. Next week we're going to be looking at staff meetings, how to make the most of them, how to get them right, how to actually get a plan of action as a result of them, and how to make them interesting. After that, we're looking at things over the coming weeks in leadership, building the correct team, the support mechanisms you need around you as a leader, and how to bring those together to set out your own career pathway for you, the business, the organisation. We've even got topics such as social media, how to do it right, not just putting something on Facebook, but putting it on for a reason and actually going after your target audience. For those that work in health and social care, we have a special edition. Well, we actually have two special editions. One is on competency assessments, ensuring that skill levels of your staff workforce are correct and that you can evidence it. And the next one is looking at CQC, so the Care Quality Commission, ensuring that you are meeting with the regulations and the guidance. And for that, we actually have special guests. One of the special guests is actually a CQC inspector themselves, so it'd be great for you to pose any questions. These sessions at the end of the day are interactive, so please, if you are watching now, post a question if you have one when we start to talk about the topic. Let us know, let me have the chance to give you an answer. If I can't get the answer to you straight away, we will post the answer onto the Facebook page so you'll be able to see it from there. We have, from last week I got emailed a lot from people that have viewed it, telling me about how they'd watched and gone away and set goals and how it had changed the way they were thinking, or at least brought back the memory of why they do it in the first place. And that was the whole point of talking about future. So this week, again, we want to get that same message out there to make people interact, make people think, and not just do, which is the most important thing. Think and then we can actually plan. We have done a few different things this week, so these videos are there on the Facebook page for you to be able to see, for you to be able to like and share. They are there for you to watch back. And last week we got quite a lot of views, which is great, but we want some more this week on this video. But what we have done as well is on our website page, right at the top, there is a big tab, and it's a link to a YouTube channel that we've set up. And the YouTube channel will show this video and many other videos in relation to training and skills, and they're well worth a watch. So if you go onto our website, which is www.elearningforyou.co.uk, That's e-learning for you, so it's forYou.co.uk. You'll be able to get onto the Facebook channel, not the Facebook channel, the YouTube channel as a result of that, and be able to watch those videos back. So please share them out, let as many people see them as you can possibly get. There's lots of other stuff on that website, things that you can download, courses that we deliver, whether it's e-learning, whether it's face-to-face. It's well worth a visit, so please head over there or leave us comments on the Facebook page and we'll certainly get back to you. Anyway, on with today's topic, which is looking very much at recruitment and retention of staff. And the idea is that we'll do like a 15-20 minute segment to try and get you to have insight into what we're trying to do better when it comes to recruitment and retention. Now, I've worked in many different industries and I have employed people from care staff to housekeeping to deputy managers to managers to being responsible for bringing in managing directors or being in an interviewing process to bring in chief executives of local authorities. So from the recruitment point of view, I want to try and give you some of those little tips that you can use to be different, which is the key. But I've always in business related to recruitment and retention as retention coming first. You see, recruitment is only needed if we are trying to grow or if we have a problem with our staff turnover. And therefore it becomes a big costly mechanism. Now growing, that's fine because you're going to be bringing in extra capital, but if you're not growing and you're just replacing, then it's very costly. So we must concentrate our efforts very much first on retention of staff, and we have to realise the importance of what staff are, the value of them, the cost of training up a member of staff. And when I look at statistics of industry, particularly around the lower paid industries, you find that there is a very high turnover. I mean, even in the industry of health and social care, recent publications have shown turnover of last year to be averaging at 34% within care homes. You know, basically what we're turning around and saying is the average in a care home is for every 10 people that you employ, you're going to lose 3 of them. That's quite costly. Now, when I speak to these industries and I say, what was your turnover of staff last year within your organisation, i.e. how many staff did you lose, no one has the answer and no one's broken it down into a percentage. And therefore I look at that and think, well, you can't have set a plan on how you're going to actually address that, how you are going to get better at retaining your workforce. All you're doing is the same as you were doing last year. Very much talking about the topic that I was talking about last week, is don't stand still. We've got to measure, we've got to do things. 34%, when we look at that, a cost of training that goes into staff, or time and effort, or knowledge or skill set, that's a lot to lose. A heck of a lot. So the first thing I would say to you in all of this is go away and figure out over the last 12 months how many staff have left your organisation compared to the amount of staff you have, and work out the percentage. And let's say, for instance, it comes in at 30%. So of your workforce over the course of the year, you had 100 people employed and you lost 30 of them. So that's 30 people, 30%. The first target going forward now is to work out how we reduce that percentage, how we retain the staff. Now, if your thought process is, well, we can't because it's a low-paid workforce, or it's one of those jobs that no one finds progression in, so they just come and do it for a little bit and then they go, then your attitude towards it is that there is an expectancy that the levels will always be that. No, stop that right now. The expectancy, the levels that you should be, are the goals that you set. So if we want to actually say, our goal for next year is to reduce our staff turnover, our staff leaving, by 10%, then let's actually focus on that. Let's try and drive it down to 20%. The biggest issue around that, the thing that you've got to do now, is try and figure out why it was 30% in the first place. And there'll be a reason for that. It can be down to the fact that did staff feel valued? Did staff feel part? Did staff feel part of the vision of the company? Did staff feel that you cared for them? did staff feel that there was the opportunity to progress within your organisation? In other words, did they feel like they were the organisation? And a lot of times when we start to look at things like that, we realise that no, they didn't. And the ones that actually left, the reason they left is because they did feel a bit isolated or oppressed or uncared for. And we've got to address that straight away, because that's a big cost to us. We need to retain the staff, the workforce that we have in the first place. And there's so many things you can do about that. Now, a good manager that I once worked for explained something to me, which again, like last week in the little stories, it just holds true. And that was someone in health and social care. It was a care manager who turned around to me and said, okay, so here's my dilemma, is that you could build a £10 million care home here, and you could build a £1 million care home here. Now, in the £10 million care home, there is coffee rooms, there is a big cinema room, there is a fitness gym, there is a lift that belongs in a 5-star hotel. The bedrooms are large in size. The equipment is state of the art. All rooms have got the ensuite. It's carpeted. It's luxurious. It's brilliant. It's perfect. It's cost £10 million to build. You walk into it and you go, wow. The £1 million care home. Well, in the £1 million care home, the rooms are small. The decor is not anywhere near the class of its expensive brother. The lift, well, if you can get in it and squeeze yourself in it, you're doing very well. There is no coffee room, there's no cinema room, there's nothing like that. But the fundamental difference is that within the £1 million care home, we have some exceptional high quality staff and a great workforce and atmosphere. In the £10 million care home, let's place staff in there who aren't motivated, who aren't brilliant, who don't feel part of something, who don't care. Then you have to ask yourself the question, where would I want to stay? And the answer is always going to be, put me in the £1 million care home. Because it's the staff that make the product work. It's the staff that make the company's heart beat. It's not the bricks and the mortar. It's not the equipment. It's the person that uses it. And we have to look at staff in that way. That you are the bricks and mortar of the company. You are the asset. And that's the first chance we get at making a staff workforce feel valued. And it's our job in management or anywhere in that to actually live that experience with staff and that value. We have to do so many different things that makes them not want to leave. You see, everybody talks about, well, at the end of the day, it's low paid, so it's hard to get staff. Actually, it's not true, because there is millions of people working within your industry. There is hundreds and thousands of people working within your local areas and your communities, and there is a high proportion of those people who will be working in care or working in produce or working in a factory or working in a shopping centre who will not be on high pay, but they've chosen to go and work there. That is your fish pond, and it's full of fish. You've just got to find a way to capture them, to get them in, and then to maintain them. So the first thing we've got to do is maintain the staff that we actually have. Once we've done that, we can then establish stability within our company. We can grow it. And if you can take your workforce turnover from 34% to 20%, you're now working towards achieving that. So ask your staff, don't be scared to say to them, what can we do better? Because we want to retain you. We want you. You're an asset to us. Now, if you are growing, or you do have to start to look at recruitment, then that's the flip side to the coin. Because now we've got to actually attract that talent. Now we've got to ensure that our fishing rod has a bigger worm on it to attract the fish in that pond, as opposed to the other 50, 60 companies that are around us doing the exact same thing. Now, if I go to the fish pond with the same rod as what those other 60 people do, then the reality is it's going to be potluck whether I get or catch the fish. And the good fish, the big fish, the one that's actually going to make a difference to me. But I want to change potluck. You see, potluck's a dangerous thing when it comes to staffing, because whilst I may get a good staff member out of it, I may also get a not so good staff member out of it. And if I get a not so good staff member out of it, that could have a detrimental impact, A, on my staff retention, and B, on my business. So why not go to the pond with a bigger fishing rod? Why not do it? Why not have the juicier worm? And to do that, we must start to first think, what is it that we're actually after? Who is it that we want to bring in? What's our staff workforce currently like? Is our staff workforce a fun-loving, happy, active workforce? And therefore, are we trying to attract somebody of similar value to that? Or do we want to actually scope it into a more professional setting, someone with a bit more expertise in a certain area? Because that's who we're now going for. And how are we going to fit them into our workforce? Then what we're going to look at is how we actually advertise ourselves. And that's a key point in all of this, is the advertise ourselves. You see, people say it's a job advert or we've got job vacancies. Well, in reality it's not. It's an advertisement. And when we think of every single commercial that's on TV, they are an advertisement. They are trying to get you to go and purchase that product. And we're trying to do that in a job advert, exactly the same, that job advertisement. We're trying to get this potential member of staff or applicant to want to come and have a look at us, to want to buy into us, to want to work with us. So therefore we've got to be different. Now I see job adverts in the paper all the time, and they will say things along the line of care assistant wanted, hours of operation 7 till 4, Monday to Friday, training given, uniform giving, please apply within. And they'll sit there in the paper or in the one-stop shop right next to another advert that says exactly the same thing. Well, that's the same fishing rod. We want a different one. So we've got to actually look at how we advertise and recruit in a way that we actually attract the person to want to come to us, the one that will stand out. So if you are a fun-loving organisation, put that on. You see, if I was on a, not that I'm saying that I do it, but if you were on a dating website and you were selling yourself, you would sell yourself much better. You wouldn't just put, hi, my name's Paul. You would put many different varieties. You would put what your expertise in it is, what you're looking for. And that's exactly what we want here. Are you looking for someone that wants to be part of a winning team? Also, instead of just putting training given, what sort of value is on that training? Everybody can say training given, but if my value when I look at it is that for new starters, the time, the effort, the training that goes, the mentoring that goes into it, if that value I perceive to be £2,000 over the course of 6 months, then let's put that up there on the advert. We will invest £2,000 in your future. We want you to be part of our company. Using words, instead of saying we are looking for a carer, we are looking for a nurse, we are looking for a receptionist, we are looking for a chef. And you see it all in the same advert, all crammed in. Why would you do that? We are a growing company. We are looking to expand. These are the key words that we actually want to start to attract. Expansion, growth, using your words selectively. You're trying to catch someone, you're trying to pull them in, you're trying to make them choose you over others. That's completely different to the interviewing process. At this moment in time, we're trying to capture excellence. Now when people say to me that's easier said than done, you've just got to think outside the box. You see, if I'm an operation that operates 24 hours a day, but my peak period time is between 5 and 9 p.m, then that's where I'm going after. And actually, my market there could be parents, because that's after school hours. 5 p.m. is after school hours, 9 p.m. gets you home at a good time. That's the 4-hour period. That's the period that I'm trying to fill. So where would those parents be? Will they be reading the local newspaper? Or will one of them maybe actually looking in the children's school bag at the end of the day when they get home? Now, if you can build relationships with your local school, primary school, high schools, etc. like that, and recruitment drives within it, and you know what you're looking for, then just one example would be that speaking to the head teacher and saying, I'd like to put one of these flyers in each of these school bags, may just attract the audience that you want, but you've targeted, you've chosen the audience that you want, and that's starting to think outside the box. So the way you word an advert to try and bring someone in, and how you actually get it out to your audience are vital. And if you're looking at recruitment and you're thinking our processes in recruitment and attracting staff and the right staff haven't brought much success, then you don't just continue to do that. You look at ways to improve it, to bring it in. Now, there's many channels you can use. If you've got social media, if you've got a Facebook page, we're going to be talking about it in a couple of weeks. But if you've got a Facebook page, then the reality is put it and post it on there. If you're an organisation and you've got a staff room, or you've got a front door area where you can advertise positions, advertise them there. You've got so much footfall walking through. You can get members of staff to actually see an internal jobs vacancy board and then take that out to their colleagues, their peers, people that they know, and say, oh, there's a job on the board if you're interested, if you want to apply. And those are the key messages when we start to look at staff retention and recruitment. Pick the right person, retain them, value them, support them, give them the support and training that they need. Use your appraisals and your supervisions to direct people. Make sure your workforce is happy. Make sure that they've got something to achieve and they can progress. Make sure it's not dead-ended. And if you're recruiting staff, you need to be able to bring them in. You need to be able to find them. You need to be able to sell to them. And then you need to be able to select the correct one. And it's much easier to select from many than to select from few, which is key. But the advert process is right. Now, for those of you that are in care or in the care industry, you should be looking at things like Indeed. You should be looking at getting your workplace onto a LinkedIn profile. You should be using Facebook. These are all mechanisms that can help and support you. You should not be doing the same as what everybody else is doing. Go different. I said before, go to the pond with a better fishing rod and a bigger worm. You'll catch them. But when somebody does turn up, and this goes back to the story of the £10 million establishment and the £1 million establishment, when somebody does turn up, the first impression that they get, even before interview, is your workforce, is your environment. And if they see some managers who are passionate and care deeply and have a vision, then they will buy into that interview process. If they see a staff workforce who are bubbly, bouncy, happy, they will buy into that. They will want to be part of that. If they see somebody that's miserable, if they see somebody that is professional to the core, that it becomes a strict, disciplined interview, then and they see no passion, then they will walk away and they will be looking for the place that excites them. And I have a big belief in this, and that is you've got to fall in love with something to really want to work there. And you've got to stay in love with it to continue to want to work there. So you've got to find a way in which somebody can fall in love with you. First impressions count. Who you work with count. Who you are led by counts. And all of this counts towards that recruitment and retention. If you are someone who is interviewing someone, make sure that you know what it is you're interviewing them for. In other words, if you're never going to see them work because you're too high up in the company, or you're never going to be with them on a day-to-day basis, then bring somebody to the interview that would, because they will know who it is that they want to select. And that's what we're talking about when we start to look at recruitment process. There's so many different things that you can do. But the key message is don't do what everybody else is doing. So I want you to think. I really want you to think and look. I've given you a couple of things there to go on. I've given you the basis that you should look at how many staff you lost last year. Look at the experience you lost. Look at how much that would have cost. Look how many staff you brought in. Look at the average time that staff remain with your company. And then put it into a measurable goal. And then set your goals for this year. And say, okay, in 12 months' time, that must be reduced. Because that will save you money. That will better your reputation. It will give you stability. But then when you do want to go after someone and you do want to recruit, let's make sure that we actually recruit people that we want within our job role. Let's recruit them right, and let's advertise that position. Now, I'm happy for anybody to give me any questions or send me an email. I'm sure I can help you out or give you better tips, more tips in terms of how we do this. We do run these sort of courses, particularly around how to recruit properly and effectively and how to retain staff better. And we run them in face-to-face sessions through Affinity Training, and they are anything from 3 hours to a day in length. Or there's the management training which encompasses that. So feel free to jump onto our website again, as I mentioned before. It's elearningforyou.co.uk. Take a look and see what you think. But I cannot stress this enough. Last week when I talked about setting out the future and engaging people and delivering something and making sure you had key goals over 3 months, 6 months and 12 months, a lot of that would have come down to your workforce. A lot of that would have been, how do I want to improve my business? Well, I need the workforce to help me improve the business. How am I going to achieve my goals? Well, I need the workforce to achieve those goals. And this time what I want you to think this week is, who is my workforce? How am I going to retain my staff better? How am I going to make them feel valued? How am I going to care for those people in a way that they will deliver that care back from me? And when I do have to go out and recruit, how am I going to go to the fishing pond and make sure that the fish all want to come towards me? How am I going to be the person that actually gets the right staff or selects the right staff because I had the best opportunity to do that? And the tips that I gave you today relating to that was to think outside the box. Look at how you can recruit, whether it be an internal messaging board, whether it be putting flyers in school children's bags after you've spoken to the head teacher about jobs, whether it be speaking to your local parish council and seeing if they have a parish council notice board that you can actually put your job advertisements, or going further afield and looking at social media, or even looking at the likes of a CV library. But when you do put that advert in it, it's got to be eye-catching. Use colour. Don't go black and white. Use colour. Make someone be drawn to it. Make someone want to see it. Don't be so structured that you are set in your ways. If you are 24 hours in operation, that shift can be split many ways. You're trying to get your business to run, and you're trying to get your business to run with the right people. So, on that note, I did say they're about 20 minutes in length, and I could sit here and talk about this quite a lot, but I know you've got a weekend to be going and enjoying. So, on that note, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm very grateful. Please feel free to leave your comments on the Facebook page. Even if you're watching this after this event, make sure you visit our website, look at the YouTube channel. There's many videos on there, as I said. We'll be back next week at 4:30 because we'll make sure technology works for you. We'll be looking very much at leadership teams and how to build that leadership team around you, so you have that person that you can confide in, or those people that share that vision. But for now, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to wish you a brilliant weekend. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.